Hello and welcome to the It's All About Missions video devotion this week. And we've got another devotion coming from 2 Chronicles 16 verse number 9. One of my favorite passages of the Bible, one of my favorite verses here. I'm going to read that verse here. 2 Chronicles 16 verse 9 says this: "For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. Herein thou hast done foolishly, therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars." Made me wondering what that verse is about, but the story is this. King Asa, king of Judah, God had caused the children of Israel to come up against him, and Asa got concerned and got worried, and so he hired the Syrians to do his work for him. And he ran to the world instead of running to God. And when he did that, God came and sent a prophet. Hananiah the prophet came in and said, "What did you do? Why did you do this? Didn't you not see God work in your life before?" And God had worked in his life before. He had been an army over 1,000,000 against all odds. God had given him a promise to be in his life, and Asa saw God work. And yet, when it came down to it later in his life, Asa decided to trust man instead of trust God. And God here saying, I could have given you the Syrians into your hand, that you could have been the one that defeated all the Syrians. But he missed out because he doubted God. But God says here in this verse, the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth. God is looking all around the world. He's looking at the world, and he's wanting to show himself strong in someone's life. And you may be out here watching these videos, seeing these videos, and thinking, well, that's great, Brady, that you've given your life to missions, and you've given your life to get the gospel around the world. And I've seen so many people come to my church, and they're way better than me. There is no way that God could ever use me as a missionary. God can never use me, is what you're thinking. But this verse here says otherwise. This verse says that God is looking around the world, and he's looking at those who have accepted him as their Savior, those who are on their way to heaven, those who are Christians. He's looking at them and looking at their lives, and he's saying, I am looking for someone who I can show myself strong in their life. I want to show myself strong. I want to do something great with them. And all around the world, God is looking at Christians. He's waiting for them to respond because he wants to do great and mighty things in your life. And you may be thinking, God could never use me. There is no way that I could ever be a missionary. The truth is I'm not the guy to be a missionary, is what you're thinking. I've got too many issues, too many problems. Got too many disadvantages. But this verse doesn't say, for the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong for those who are smart, for those who are intelligent, for those who look the greatest, who have all the talent. No, what the verse says is God is going to show himself strong on behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. Basically, that verse is saying God is going to show himself strong to those that are willing to trust him, to those that are willing to trust and rely on God and God alone. That's all it takes. So guess what? If you're saved, if you're a Christian, that can be you. All you've got to be willing to do is to step out in faith and trust God. So you're thinking, you're talking about trying to get the gospel all around the world, and you're giving devotions and you're sharing the need around the world, but I could never do that. I can't qualify. I could never get up and speak in front of people. I could never go and preach the gospel. I could never go and learn another language. And yet, if you're willing to just trust God, if you're willing to step out in faith, God can and will show himself strong in your life. God has time and time again shown himself strong in my life. The only way I'm able to do these videos, the only way I'm going where I'm going to the country of Turkey, is because God has shown himself strong in my life. And my story is not a story about how I have overcome. My story is a story of how God has overcome difficulties and disadvantages in my life. And I want to challenge you. I don't know what you're struggling with, what you're going through, what difficulties or what disadvantages you think you have, but God looks at those and he says, I can show myself strong in your life. I can use you if you are willing to just trust me. So I want to challenge you today. We can see the world reach to the gospel in this generation, but it's going to take Christians that are willing to step out in faith, willing to give their life to God and say, God, I don't know how I can do this, but I'm just going to trust you with all I have. Lord, show yourself strong in my life. And we had Christians, if we had young people, we had adults, if we had people that are willing just to step out and say, God, I need you to show yourself strong in my life as I endeavor to reach the world with the gospel, we could see souls saved, people discipled, churches planted, men trained, and the world once again turned upside down because of the gospel of Jesus Christ. May we dare step out in faith. May we ask God to show himself strong in our lives. Let's do this so that we can see the world reached in this generation.